I was appalled by the treatment of those career officers. It's very sad that they were put in that situation. Entire families were devastated as a result of that. Kids in college, no longer with their parents with the salary. You repeat the question again? Sorry. I'm trying to think too far ahead. So.
Okay, and this is going to be, I'm going to just say this editorial comment. This is going to be a little difficult for Mr. Manfrey because the sheriff is going to have to respond to all these people, and he only gets one opportunity. Am I correct?
One rebuttal.
One rebuttal, not a rebuttal to each person. That's my understanding. That's the way it was explained to me when I was given charge to do this.
I remember.
Do you remember the question now?
Yes.
I just want to make sure everybody knows.
The long term.
I want to make sure everybody knows what's coming.
Yeah. The long term employees. This is real simple. Not going to take a lot of your time. You do your job, you keep your job. I don't care about your party affiliation. If you like me, you don't like me. You'll do your job, you'll keep your job. I'll be able to get those skills and talents out of you, and you might not even know it. You're going to be productive, I can guarantee that.
Mr. Staley, you have a question.
Well, I think I was as surprised as everyone else when all the terminations occurred because I was provided no input to that even after I was announced as being undersheriff.
Please.
As far as during my transition, I will interview every employee, every command appointed position, and then make those decisions. I don't believe that people should be pushed out the door if I can find a position for them that they're qualified and fit for, that they will have that. I believe in soft landings if you're not one of my very top people, but I don't believe that people that are close to retirement and have made this place their home should lose their job. And that's my vision when I go in, is to interview and then select the command staff that's appropriate.
Mr. Wisnick.
We'll start off with Sheriff Manfrey is the sheriff. I am not running against Sheriff Manfrey. I am running for the office of sheriff. It's what we can do for the community. Working together hand in hand with the PBA, working with the union and protecting the officers past the promotion of sergeant. There's a lot of good people out there that would love to go up. You will be protected. I will make sure after my administration is over with, you have a safe place and no one will be terminated. You will be treated with dignity and respect. I know there's a lot of good leaders out there, and keep doing what you're doing because the leadership is going to come back. You are the leaders. You protect Ashley and I at night. You protect our friends and family. I am running for office of sheriff. I'm not running against anyone. We're going to do it together with the community. We're going to protect our deputies. We're going to make sure deputies get fair pay.
Time.
Thank you.
Mr. Yates.
Well, as far as what has gone on in the FRS system over the last 8-10 years, most of the deputies and the senior command staff are there between 20 and 24, 25 years right now. And they probably would have entered drop if they could have back when all the changes were about to take place. So you got a commander or a chief deputy, whatever, that's been here 22, 23 years. I have no intention on walking in and kicking anybody to the curb. I will assess everybody's abilities as far as their rank and their job position. You know, if you're over CID and that's not your cup of tea, you're better over patrol, well, we'll put you over patrol and get the best out of you and the most. Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, I was devastated when see my brothers and sisters lose their job. 20, 25 years, they out the door. They lost their homes, their cars, they lost everything. Franklin County doesn't need that. What I would do, nobody would lose their job. We've been having the sheriff come and make promises. What I would do, I would deliver on my promise. No one lose their job.
Mr. Doherty, you have a question on keeping long-term employees. How would you treat the long-term employees?
In my opinion, there's no substitute for experience, especially when you're in police work. the senior officers have to be treated with respect. They have to be acknowledged. You have to keep them because they're the ones that mentor and train the new guys. So I'm just gonna go to a little situation here. I was at the beach a couple months ago. I met a Flagler County Deputy Sheriff. And I noticed he was very young. And I said, how old are you? He said, 19 years old. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm a sheriff, there isn't going to be any 19-year-olds coming onto the sheriff's department. You don't have the life skills to be able to handle all the different situations that come up. So, take care of your senior officers.
Thank you. Mr. Fleming.
In my 8 years as sheriff, I know the capabilities of all the deputies that I had. I know their capabilities. And I think they did a wonderful, great job, professional job. Am I going to bring back somebody? You bet I am. And I'm going to bring back people that got messed up or screwed up with this administration that did it. People who have 24, 23 years, 2 years away from retirement. That talent, that emotion that was poured into this agency will come back. And if nobody likes that, then don't vote for me. Thank you.
Mr. Lynn.
Well, I come from a larger agency, actually the third largest agency in Florida, and we have civil service in Jacksonville, even though it's a sheriff's office. I rose to the rank of lieutenant, and after that I was appointed. When a new sheriff comes in, and the majority of these people understand where I'm coming from, the sheriff brings their team. I reverted back to a lieutenant, and I am thankful that I had that protection. One thing I'm looking forward to is bringing back a tested position. If a man and woman earned that position and tested and were promoted, they deserve to have kept it when a new sheriff came in. So I'm looking forward to working with the men and women to bring that back. I would also like to work with the county to see if we can create an ordinance to protect it. So later on down the road, after 8 years, when I go and retire myself, the next sheriff can't come in and demote everybody back or even fire. So they need to have that protection, they need to have that sense of security. And I'm looking forward to working with the institutional knowledge within the agency together with the staff that we already have. I am confident in my leadership abilities that I can work with anybody here and we can get the job done, and I'm excited about it. Thank you.
The debate organizers have made a mid-shift decision because of the complexity of the answers and the number of candidates speaking to the issue. It was considered insufficient to give Sheriff Manfrey only 30 seconds to respond to 8 other people. He will have up to 2 minutes to collectively respond. And then the question is shut down.
Okay, so when we first took office, we created a transition team of which Mr. Staley was the head of it. And that transition team made certain recommendations. The transition team recommended 4 people be terminated. And Mr. Staley was the head of that transition team. Only two people were terminated.
Please.
And the central reason was that I was given was that they were getting paid about $95,000. In one instance, a major was over a sergeant, a corporal, and 4 people, and was in that position, and it was a position we no longer needed. The second position, a major was getting paid $95,000, which is a lot of money in this community. He oversaw a lieutenant, a sergeant, and 4 people. So those were recommendations made to me. Every termination was made through a recommendation, while Mr. Staley was there, through him. The other terminations that occurred were simply based on performance. This idea that people have their jobs regardless of their performance is the reason why I got elected in the first place. I walked in the door, people did not want to show up. The former sheriff didn't show up, so they didn't show up. So I had a command staff that simply did not want to come to work. So the people who got let go, Mr. O'Brien after him, was at the recommendation of Mr. Staley because he failed to go to a high-risk search warrant because he went home tired. I think that's a reason to fire someone when you have a high-risk search warrant, you're a patrol commander, and you go home without telling the chief deputy, or the undersheriff at that time, that you're home during this area. So other than those 2 incidents, Every other termination was based on cause for a lack of accountability of that person to do their job in the command staff position.
Thank you. We move now to